Welcome to Keno Nose Time, the podcast celebrating scent detection for fun. Join us for insights into building a connection in your team, tips for competency and success in competition, and to keep up to date with recent and upcoming scent work events here in New South Wales and around Australia. Good afternoon, Danielle.
Hello.
Changed it different, see? Oh, that didn't make sense. It's been a long weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, it still feels like the weekend, even though it's the middle of the week.
It's Wednesday. It really does still feel like I'm still recovering from the weekend. Rightio. Well, what did we do on the weekend then?
Well, we had two trials. Saturday nosework 1, Sunday nosework 3.
Yeah, and we were the hosts.
Yeah.
We co-hosted the weekend of back-to-back trials, and I think it went really well.
Yes, I think it did go really well. There was lots of success. People seemed happy, I guess. Hopefully.
Most of them were. I was really happy we ran to schedule. That was something I was excited about.
Yes. No, I was actually glad that this was our second weekend at that venue because we had the Element trials a month ago. I thought that was nice because I thought the flow worked a bit better, especially with the reactive dog parking. We moved that around a bit.
Yeah, we sort of learnt from the last time. And when we say flow, for people that don't know what we're talking about dogs entering and exiting search areas.
Yeah.
And that's because that's one of the most important things when you're choosing search areas and choosing how to get back, and especially running simultaneous hides, which we did all weekend, simultaneous searches, which we did all weekend. That's really important that the dogs can get to the search area and then get back to the car park without sort of too much crossover with other dogs.
Yeah. It's a huge consideration. And it also takes a fair bit of cooperation from everyone. You know, and I thought that it seemed to just work really nicely and smoothly and cooperatively this weekend.
Yeah, it really did. And that's where I get most of my steps from, is setting out those from the car park to the search area and back. And then if you get it wrong and you've got to change it, that's another whole lot of steps.
Oh man, there was so many steps. It was a lot.
I was exhausted. That was a really good weekend. For a host point of view, I think we had most of our ducks in a row, so that was really cool.
Yep, the volunteers were awesome.
They really were.
Yep.
Yeah, and we had a few newer volunteers, but most of them, fairly experienced and knew what they were doing, and yeah, it was a really good day. Days. But not only did we host.
No. We were running dogs.
We competed as well. So let's start with the nosework 1. Who did you run?
I ran Buddy, who is your mum's dog. He's an oodle thing, a cavoodle. And this was actually our first time searching together as a team. We just went straight into a nosework 1 together. And he was so much fun. I love searching with Buddy.
I'm just going to say you did one other search with Buddy in preparation for this.
What was?
And we're not advocating that people just go into a trial.
Well, I should also say that Buddy is in my regular class. So I'm it's not like I watch him search all the time. So I'm very familiar with his search.
That's true. And he knows you very well.
Yeah.
And, he's a good boy. But he's like the community dog.
But this was his second nosework 1. He's done one with you.
Yeah.
His second, and he's going to need to do a third.
He's come so close both times.
Oh, so close. Heartbreakingly close. So we did a first search. What was it? Vehicle was up first for us. And he nailed it. He did think we were just kind of running around having a party. It took a while to get into searching, but once he was on odor, he was so super clear. Exteriors, he was really awesome. Did that quickly. Then we did containers. He did kind of go up and down a bit. And I was like, thinking, oh no, not sure we're going to get this. He did show a change of behavior in one box, but he kept moving, didn't do any dancey feet. His alert is he dances with his feet and throws his head around like a little My Little Pony.
That just reminds me of that with Leah Gangelhoff. Here's like the exact example of a dog that in anticipation of reward.
Yeah.
Like it's got
organic joy, I think was her word or something like that.
yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of tweaked where the odor was by his change of behavior, but he didn't alert. So then we went back up and I'm like, oh God, just give me something that I can call alert on this box. And he did. He didn't do much more of an alert on that. So then we were three out of three. We got to interiors. And again, he searched, buddy style, happy, enthusiastic. Again, a slight change of behavior somewhere, but he didn't alert to it. Then he came back. He gave me a really clear alert. Called alert, and I got a no. It was just a little too far away.
Yeah. And that's sort of like his his story. And Buddy's the dog that he only goes to class because, my mum doesn't train him or anything. So the extent of his training is in canine nose time classes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think he's got some really good foundations and honestly, he's not ready for nose work 2. So I think doing another nose work 1 with him will be a really good, it'll be another fun experience.
Yep.
And he can still play the game, which is really cool. Like just, whether I run him or you run him or whoever ends up running him, just that he can play the game.
And the other thing with him is that he's not the type of dog where if he's alerting somewhere, like if he alerts the first time, he's a dog where you call it, right?
Yeah.
Because he's not a dog where you just kind of ask for more, push him, say that's not good enough. Like that's not who he is. He can't cope with that kind of thing. And he hasn't been trained to do that, right? So if he is clear that odor's somewhere there and he wants to tell you about it, you just kind of have to take it.
Yeah. And honestly, he's got so much love and joy for searching and finding odor. He really does. That, he's one of those. I agree with you. I think if he gives you something in a trial, definitely I would never question it. I'm taking what he gives because, even in training, well, the majority of the time he's right anyway. But
he is.
So no, it's good that he got to run.
Yeah, and it is also good to practice like what to do when you get a no in a trial because it's always a deflating experience, right? Even though it's Buddy and there was no expectations and he's not even my dog, you get a no and it's just like it just kind of sucks something out of you in that moment. So it's kind of just good to practice, with Buddy I just gave him a reward anyway because I knew he was close to it.
Yeah.
And then we just moved out of the search area and he got lots of love and he didn't know that he did anything wrong.
Well, it didn't ruin his day. He was pretty happy when he
was. He was.
Was it really windy when you ran the vehicles and exteriors?
No, because we ran really early in the run order and the wind, it was a bit breezy, but not what happened later in the run order, which was basically disaster level wind.
Yeah, it was pretty hectic a bit later in the day. I ran Ranger in the Nosework 1.
Yep.
And I was really happy with how he worked, actually. I pulled him out of the vehicle search because I think it was partly context, partly, I don't think I can't remember the last time he searched the vehicles. he knows what odor is, but he was also on the wrong side of the vehicle to catch odor. So, that was fine. He was happy. Yeah, his containers were really good. Even his interiors were good. He hit the interior because we did those first. The vehicles I pulled him out of and his exteriors was really good. So, it was really nice just running him, just seeing how far he's come from that never being an option for us before to it. A full day trial was actually, he did really well coping with it, with the environment.
I have to say, like, I walked past his car a few times and he was really settled in the car.
Yeah.
He, he did cope awesomely with the day, considering he is a super special, sensitive boy.
Yeah, like there were so many wins for the whole day for me, just having him there. Just the particularly the environmental side of it, but also the fact that he searched. Like
Yep.
he he got he found 3 out of the 4 hides on the day. And yeah, I didn't push him or anything. Like as soon as I realized that the vehicles was probably a little bit beyond our, where he was at comfort wise, I'm like, all right, let's just go to the next one.
Yeah.
But I think that's important to keep your expectations, where they should be for the dog that you're running in front of you.
Totally.
And there are so many wins even when you don't pass.
Yeah.
And we definitely have wins for the nosework one. Like I was really proud of how he ran. And honestly, I'm like, I would run him in another nosework one after that experience because I think that he can cope with it now and happily cope with it.
Yep. So we need to put on another nosework one.
Yeah, pretty much.
I will happily run Buddy again because I think the main things for him and I is that we both had so much fun together.
It's hard not to have fun running Buddy.
He's like happy, and I've been looking through the photos, and I think he looked like the happiest dog in the whole group.
Yeah. I'm so pleased with his foundation. Say, like, we've given him no reason to dislike this game at all.
Yep.
There's so much positive, association he has with his search cues, with finding odor. Like,
I know, and it's so cool because, like you say, he literally only comes to class like once a week, and that's it. He doesn't do agility or obedience or anything else. Like he's just a really awesome pet dog.
Yeah.
Who just does nosework every now and then.
Yeah, and he started man trailing too.
He has started man trailing. He's actually, I think, one of the best dogs in our group.
Oh dear. He has a lot of joy. He definitely does. He's not like my fun police border collies, that's for sure.
No.
All right, well, should we talk about the Nosework 3 a little bit? Because we decided to host and compete with a dog in that too.
Yeah. And this is higher stakes, right? Because this is like the first Nosework 3 that's been hosted in Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you and I had dogs that there was stuff a bit on the line because Rory he got one leg at the previous Nosework 3. So if he got another leg, that would have meant his title. And also Syrah was up for one of her element titles.
Do you think that put extra pressure on you as a handler, knowing that you just needed a leg?
I think it totally did. It's that, I mean, I didn't want it to, but it just plays in your mind because it just seems like it would have even been better if I was on nothing. Do you know what I mean? That I didn't have anything to get. But yeah, so that was on top of making sure the day was running smoothly. We had to also run each of our dogs in 6 searches across the day. Unknown number of hides, 0 to 3 hides in each search. And you don't find out till presentation what's what.
Yeah, it is. It's a big day for the dogs. It's a big day, like it's a big mental challenge to run in a Nosework 3.
Totally.
And as much as I had this mental sort of game planned out in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to go have fun with my dog. I'm not going to push her. I was even, considering not running in all the elements depending on what she gave me. Like if she wanted to keep going, we were going to, because she is getting older. But if she, if there was any point in the search where she just goes, I'm done here. Or, if, I was looking for those signs to take her out sort of thing.
Yeah.
But she just kept going. Like she really wanted to solve the puzzles and she wanted to do the searching. There was a couple of times in retrospect I was sort of thinking, okay, I possibly could have taken her out earlier. And you sort of lose track of time when you're in the search too.
Do you have a timer on you?
Sorry?
Do you have your own like watch timing, or do you use any timer for yourself?
I don't, but I think I should. Because,
yeah, me too.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. But the reason I think I should is because when I looked back at my times, and I've got all the
Mm,
results here, just if anyone wants them, please email me, hello@caninosetime.com. So when I looked back at my times, the majority of them were longer than I thought I was in there for.
well, that's interesting.
Mm. Even containers. So we did a one pass containers, which was my
Yep,
goal. Like we only
yep.
hit every container once. We only went round the circuit one time, 44 seconds.
Mm,
So that was longer than I thought we were
yeah,
in there for.
yeah,
But when I looked at the placings, I think the placings were all in the 30 seconds. So we weren't too far off that. But
yep,
that it didn't feel like that long.
yep,
And in containers, there was two hides.
yep,
But I was really happy with how she worked in that, and I didn't want to go back. I was just like, we're taking our two and we're out of here.
yep.
But yeah, there was certain searches that I was super happy with, and
What was
then
your best search of the day?
actually, I think containers.
Yep,
I think containers. It felt really good, like just hitting them all that one pass, getting the two hides, and just calling finish and
yep,
walking straight out. Like
yep,
that felt really good. And, we've done so much work on containers
yep,
as a group, like as a canine nose time, in our classes, distractors, getting the dogs to really understand the context of containers and checking them all.
yep.
And actually watching some of the students run on the weekend, I was like, man, we've done some good work. Like, these guys look
Yeah, I
great.
agree. Yeah.
They really looked good running containers, which was cool.
I mean,
How was
so
your containers?
so so my very first search of the day was containers, and that is me and Rory's favorite
I know you
element.
guys are good at
I
containers.
love containers. He'd done two level two container searches in that location a few weeks ago, and they were both one path container searches, right? Where he just, bam, 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 container, odor, container, he loves doing that. It's always so smooth. At the last Nosework 3 trial, that's what he did. He basically went from odor to odor, took him past the final line that he kind of skipped, and he was fine. This time, first search of the day, we rock up and he sniffs every single box without a single change of behavior. Like we literally got all the way around the circuit. I'm like, oh my gosh,
Are you going, is this blank?
I'm pretty sure this is not blank. And so that kind of threw me, and I was like, is he not in the mood? What's going on? Anyway, I took him back for a second pass, and he got it fine. He got the two hides fine, going it back a second time. But
That
it did make me.
shakes your confidence, doesn't it?
It does take my confidence because he wasn't like searching. We weren't searching as a team the way we normally search as a team.
It's your first search of the day. So
It was.
yeah.
Yeah. It was. And then we went straight into the first exteriors, which was it ended up being a three hide search. And yeah, he
For
got
some
all
of
of them.
us.
For some people. Well, he got all of them. He got all three. He got the threshold one first, and then he worked his way through the search area. But after the second hide, he saw my sister who was taking photos, and he made a beeline to go say hi to her. And then that just took him out of his search focus. And then he just spent like 30 seconds sniffing bird poop.
Yeah, and he's not the fastest dog out there, so he really doesn't have that time to waste.
No, no. So I was like, wow, this is fun. But he did get three hides. So first two searches done. Kind of felt like I had maybe found most of the hides, but it did feel a bit kind of yucky searching. And then we go into interiors, and first area there was like adjoining rooms, and he did that pretty well. But he also showed a lot of interest in this sun patch, where I looked at the sort of room and I'm like, I don't think there's anything here. But then he decided to just do further explorations. He's jumping on a sofa, he's checking up high, and it was really bizarre searching for Rory. But we ended up doing that search. Okay, then we go into the final interior, and he decides again to start climbing on furniture, ends up falling off a bed, landing on his butt. Everyone was like, oh no, he's hurt. I'm like, no, he's fine. But it was just like this day of like not great at searching, although we did get those two searches okay as well.
You got most of the day okay.
Most of the day, okay. So it was the fifth search. So the fifth search is now our nosework 3 tradition now of being the search we fail because that was another exterior and was ended up being a single hide search. And he it was a really yucky thing. So here's the question for you, right? Your dog has worked in the area thoroughly. He showed changes of behavior. He moves away. He comes back to where he showed the changes of behavior. And then he really starts to source. But by this time, you've got the 30-second warning.
Huh.
And then you start counting in your head, and the seconds are going down, down, down. And then, he's getting closer to source. So you can really see that if you had all the time in the world, he would definitely find this hide. But you're going to run out of time. So in a nosework 3, what do?
You call alert finish.
I just called finish.
So which search how long did you have in that search?
Was it 2 minutes? 2.5 minutes, I think.
Yeah, it must have been 2.5 because I just found your paperwork for that.
Yeah.
So if you thought there was a hide there, but you decided to call finish anyway, right?
Yes.
But if you thought there's a hide there, then it would make sense to call alert finish.
He wasn't close to it yet. I mean, he was definitely sourcing it, but he was kind of moving towards it. The thing with that hide is that it was on a table, right? But he was really stuck on the wall about 1 meter away. So he was.
Well, then in that case, I think you probably did the right thing because if you called alert, you would have got a no.
He was moving towards it. He was probably, I think he was, I don't know exactly where the hide was, but I think he was probably about 0.5 meter away from it, moving from the chair at the table up towards the table.
Oh, it's tough because I'm looking at your time, but you would have had the chance of getting a yes.
Like a gamble. Like it's just like, maybe we're close enough.
But the trick is you would have had to know that he was on odor and because you only had 3.5 seconds left.
Yeah, 3.5 seconds left. And
so you timed it really well.
This is what I did in the previous nosework 3, and it paid off. He was in a similar situation in one of the interior searches, but I knew he was getting closer, so I was able to call it in time. But with this time, he wasn't at source. I know he was in odor and I knew he was working to source, but he wasn't in a place I would ever call alert in any normal situation.
Yeah.
But here's what I absolutely should not do, right? Is nothing. Just wait for the time to run out.
That's what you should not do.
Because that would have been a double no, right? That would have been a mishide and a timeout, and that would have been goodbye to my leg. Yes.
Yeah. No legs at all. So you did well. Either way, it ended up being the right thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because Well, we got the missed hide, but we managed to finish in time. Then we moved on to vehicles and got those 2 hides. So he got a leg. So now he has his nosework 3 title.
I know. Well, congratulations. Even though, so we ended up with the same result on the day. We both got a leg. But it's interesting, I think, that you can still have a successful day and not feel like you handled well. Mm-hmm. And I could still have what I thought a leg for us was a successful day. And I also felt like I handled really well.
Yep.
So, you can have the same result, but not necessarily feel good about it.
It's fun. Yeah, because I think for me, the thing I love is when me and Rory are just kind of moving as one, getting the hide smoothly, not falling off beds or getting distracted by bird poop and just that's what feels good. And I guess it's interesting because ultimately, although I'm so proud that he got a leg and he has his title, the thing that makes me happiest with nosework is when we are just kind of in sync as a team.
And I think that's what should make us all have feel better. That's what the goal should be, really, right?
Yeah.
Work really well with our dogs.
And I think the cool thing with that is that if you are working well with your dog and in sync, the nose and stuff shouldn't matter so much, right?
Yeah.
Because you did the best you could and your dog and you were working together really well.
Yeah, yeah. And that's how I felt. Like on the second nosework 3 we did, I did not feel good.
Mm,
Nothing about that day felt good to me. We were also unsuccessful. And I think that it showed through. My handling was terrible. The connection was terrible. It just felt icky.
mm,
The first nosework 3 we did felt amazing, felt really, really good. We found all the hides. I called some alerts on some blank containers, but but over the day felt really, really good. And this
yep,
weekend felt really good as well for
yep,
where we're at in our sort of training and nosework journey, which is right at the end. But we worked really well together. Sarah had a really good time. She was
yep,
really dedicated to searching. The only hide we missed was in that second exteriors, and she didn't catch it. It was no big
yep,
deal. I'd sort of made a deal with myself and with her that I was going to call finish early all day just to make sure she had enough energy for all the searches. And, she was happy in being successful, whether we
yep,
passed or not. Like the pass wasn't the goal. And
yep,
we ended up with a leg. So, I mean, that was awesome.
yes.
Yeah, I think that I was just looking at our times here. Our interior, I think we were a minute 34, that was the two big rooms. So I was happy with that.
That's
She
pretty
found
good.
two sides. Yeah. We probably hung out in the second interior a bit long. We were 42 seconds for one hide. But but yeah, we had a really good day. So the one place I probably did push her, and this comes back to Pretty Ribbons, right? And then the pressure it puts on you was the vehicle search. And I knew we were up for our vehicle element ribbon, our vehicle element nosework 3 title. And I think I did basically the same thing you did in the exterior. We got a 30-second call. I'm like, I know there's odor out here.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a little bit of conflict. She wanted to go to the bushes, and I'm like, I know that it's pulling in those bushes, but for Miss Peas a lot,
Mm-hmm.
we don't have that type of time with 30 seconds
Mm-hmm.
left. And I brought her back to the vehicle, and she's sourcing and sourcing, and she's going around the corner and hitting a number plate and then hitting a wheel. I'm like, oh my goodness, I know it's here somewhere. And I'm counting down in my mind, you know, how much longer we've got. And she's sourcing. I'm like, how long can I wait? And I'm like, I think I got another 5 to 10. And
Mm-hmm.
as soon as it wasn't a decision even, as soon as I saw her nose stop bracketing and
Yep,
just slow down, I just called alert finish.
yep,
And we had 6 seconds left on the clock.
yep.
And we passed it. So we got vehicle, we got our vehicle nosework 3 element title. And Sarah put up with me for that search. And the rest of the day, we walked into the exterior, the last exterior after that. And I just, as soon as she got the hide, I let finish. We didn't even finish clearing the area. I just wanted
Yep,
her to sort of finish it on a good note. There was only one hide in there,
yep.
which was good. But yeah, she was getting a bit tired, but she coped with it all really well. Like I was really happy with how we worked together, even
It
though I
is
did push her a bit.
it is it is interesting. And I know that down the track you and I are gonna have a podcast discussion on sort of dog driven searching.
Mhm.
But I think it is interesting the 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 compromises you make with your normal handling in a
Yeah.
trial.
When there's that extra pressure, like I felt like I felt like in all of the other searches,
Yep.
maybe not the exterior, I think I definitely made a few too many suggestions in that.
Yep.
But I think in all of the other searches, it was all her.
Yep.
I took what she had to give. We did interiors off lead. I was just following, hoping she had a good time, enjoying the searches.
Yep.
And the vehicles is when, yeah, that, just that sort of a little bit of extra pressure. Like the ribbon is no big deal, right? It's no
It
big
is
deal at
pretty.
all.
It is a really pretty green ribbon.
It is pretty. I'm glad I have it. But it really, like, that was where I'm like, all right, it's
Yeah.
it's time for me to get a little bit of, I'm taking money out of the bank.
I know. And I also do think that one of the things I felt not so happy with is because it didn't feel like my normal dog-driven searching with Rory. Like normally it's just Rory, I just let him do his thing, and it's like, I just support him and follow him, and I have faith that he is gonna, clear the area and hit everything that needs to be hit. And I think that I I let him down in doing that on the weekend.
And it doesn't feel good, does it? Like,
No.
no. Even though you got a leg and you
Mm,
guys were awesome results wise, yeah, it's not a great feeling when you can't walk away going, we nailed that as a team.
yeah. Although, I mean, I'm being super negative, but it was still really fun. And he made me laugh. And, he enjoyed finding all the hype.
Yeah. And like that's how I felt after the second nosework 3 I did. It was terrible. Except I drove all the way to Queensland to do it. So there's that. But, I mean, it's good learning as well. Next time you walk into a nosework 3, I think you automatically take that pressure off yourself. After the last one, I didn't want to feel like that.
Yeah.
Again, I walked into this weekend with no pressure on myself, with no pressure on the dog, and just trying to wanted her to have a good time.
Yep.
And it's interesting. We both listened to a podcast this morning that sort of said that, you give all the ribbons back to just do it again.
Oh, so much. So much.
Puts it all in perspective, really, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
So the other thing I will mention is that Nettle was the dog in white on the weekends.
How did she go?
She ran with my sister as the dog in white team, and she found all the hides.
Of course she did.
So Nettle's ready. I think actually the next nosework 3 I will enter with her.
Uh-oh. So Nat's done all the groundwork, and
no, she's not done all the groundwork. She did one little tiny piece. But yeah, so that'll be another whole fun experiment to do it with the crazy walker.
Well, you probably won't end up with a 5-second warning, a 30-second warning.
Who knows what will happen?
Who knows? Okay, so when's the next nosework 3?
I don't know. You tell me.
I think Becky's probably sorting that out in Queensland. Well, all the Queenslanders came down, not all of them, there's still some left in Queensland, but a fair few Queenslanders came down to support the trial, which I thought was awesome.
It was so cool to see all, because
we're a bit dirty that they took most of the prizes and ribbons.
They did take all the prizes they gathered up, went up across the border.
Well, I feel like maybe it's only fair that, some of the New South Wales people go up and take their prizes and ribbons. So
that's why I'm taking Nettle. I'm taking the fast dog up.
Yeah. Take all their winnings, bring it back to the God's country, and we'll. But it was awesome that they did come down, and I think for a double trial weekend, it makes it easier for them to make that decision too.
Yeah.
So on that note, we can tell them that there's another double trial weekend the same time next year.
Yep. Let's start planning.
Yeah. So that is on the weekend, July 19 and 20.
Yep.
So put that in your diaries, Queenslanders, 2025. Same venue. So yeah, otherwise it was a really good weekend.
Yep.
You always learn so much doing a nosework 3.
Yeah, for sure.
It's never sort of, you can never get it perfect, but if you feel good afterwards, that's probably it. You're on the way. Or if you learn something.
Yeah.
I feel like I learned a lot.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to do another one.
Well, I'd like to do another one too, but it probably needs to be fairly soon if I'm doing another one. Sarah, she had a good time though.
She was so good. She was awesome.
She did. She really enjoyed it, and she's still got that determination. Like you can see when dogs get a bit older that the sourcing slows down, the movement slows down, but the desire is still there. Like the speed is gone, like it's a different dog to search with, but she's still got all of that sort of same determination to get to source and to solve the puzzle. just in a snail's pace.
I have to say as well, just across both days, it was so awesome to see the variety of dogs that were participating. There was some really old dogs with beautiful frosty faces, flecked with white. There was tiny dogs. There was a really drooly, huge mastiff type dog.
Yeah.
There was a cute bull terrier. It was just cool. It was cool to see that this honestly is something that almost every dog can play with.
Yeah. Yep. And I thought that was, every height, the variety was amazing. Yeah, that's really cool and some of those dogs have been around in nosework for quite some time.
Yep.
Yeah, it was very cool. I know that there was probably 3 dogs that were definitely over the age of 13.
Yep.
Running in between the nosework 1 and the nosework 3,
yep.
that's amazing, right? That they can still play the game.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah. So I was just looking how many outright titles, I think was for nosework 5, and then there were 2 people, you and another team that got their second leg.
Yep.
And I think there was 6 titles because I actually have it right. And teams that got one leg, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams got a leg, and
That's
2
awesome.
got your second legs.
Yep.
So yeah, really cool. And I always find it interesting looking at the total overall times.
Yep.
Like the amount of times that dogs are actually out there searching.
Yep.
And the difference between the dog that came first, so that was Stephanie, and when they were 6 minutes 50. And the team that came second was 7:22. The team that came third was 8:59. So it's quite a variety, like quite a gap in the times there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, really cool. Very good. And I think there was a bunch of, I don't have the results for the nosework 1, but I think there was a good 30-ish titles for the nosework 1 as well, out of like 40 competitors.
Yep. Or possibly 29. 29 sticks in my head for some reason.
Yeah, that does sound right, out of 40. Yep. And we had 30 running in the nosework 3.
Yeah.
Good number. Yeah. Anyway, well, that was a good debrief.
Yes, it was. Nettle is now climbing all over me, wanting to do something. So
that's our cue to finish.
I think it is.
So a shout out for the man trailing expression of interest.
Yeah.
So if you are interested in man trailing, all the instructors at Canine Nose Time have done the instructor course, and we are perfecting our skills as we speak and making sure that we know exactly what we're talking about so that we can pass along this awesome sport. I think there's lots of you guys at Canine Nose Time that are going to love giving man trailing a go. So at the website, you can go into caninenosetime.com.au. On the main page, you can click man trailing and go and fill out the expression of interest. And we will let you know when we're either doing some practice days for the instructors and also when we are doing our first sort of intro workshop. So if you're interested in that, that's where you can be the first to be notified. Is there anything else we need to talk about? Oh, classes are back next week as well.
Yeah.
There are.
So I need to get organized.
Yeah. Yeah. You've got like 50,000 classes. There are a few spots left. All of the spots are now up on, when this podcast will be released, they will be up on the website. Anything left with the spots available, I think at the moment there is 1 spot left in an intro class on a Wednesday at 2:30. Otherwise, the rest are sort of level 6. Well, there's some level 3s with some spots too. So there's a few left anyway if you want to check out the website under training. And otherwise, I think that's probably about it.
Yep.
All right.
We got to go plan the next nosework 3.
And the next nosework 1.
Yep.
Oh gosh. It's too soon.